This is the A to Z podcast. I'm Anthony Zanni here with Alexander DePaulo, episode 25. Let's do it.
All right, Z, welcome back. Happy April Fool's Day to all that celebrate, all that recognize. I'm surprised. I thought for sure I was going to get some kind of text or phone call from you today. I was waiting for the other shoe to drop for April Fool's, but it's almost 11 o'clock. Midnight's around the corner, and I'm hoping I made it through. We'll see how this episode goes. But happy Easter to you and your family. How did it go? How was the weekend?
It was good. It was a fun time. How about you?
It was good. My wife came up like a hero. The Easter Bunny was good to the kids. I feel like a deadbeat dad when it comes to holidays. I kind of just sit back and kind of do nothing. Chip in where I need to chip in and get the kids out the door. Usually yelling and screaming, but we get them where they need to go, and they're in one piece. That's all that matters.
I kind of expect Santa and the Easter Bunny to do all that magical stuff. So I
The
think
worst
it's on.
the worst part about it is I was this morning, my son was asking me to put something together from the Easter. I can't even say this straight, but from the Easter Bunny, and I was like, I can't do this. You got to bring it to your mom. And I'm like, your mom bought this for you. I mean, the Easter Bunny brought this for you. Like I don't, but she knows how to put it together. And I almost blew the whole thing up. I almost blew the whole thing up in a matter of an hour inside of Easter. So. But it was good. It all worked out. The weather was gorgeous. We got to spend most of the day outside, so no complaints at all.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
And it was a good sports weekend. We had the opening of the Major League Baseball season. We had the Final Four decided finally in the NCAA. So that's where I want to start. I want to start with the NCAA tournament. And, I'm not one to toot my own horn here, pat myself on the back, but I'm about to do that because your boy was pretty much spot on with a lot of his predictions. I am not a college basketball guy. I was basing it strictly on the conference tournaments. I told you Houston were frauds. Guess what? They were knocked off early. Not early, but they were knocked off
Not
by Duke.
early.
Not early. They were knocked off by Duke. I said my Cinderella was NC State, and look at them marching into the Final Four. DJ Burns is why this tournament is spectacular. It's been a lot of fun to watch him play.
Yeah, they got hot at the right time, and they've been playing really good basketball. It was a lot of people's Cinderella team, just for the record.
I don't know about that. I'm not sure about that.
Let's just call a spade a spade. But they are playing very well. I think they beat a very overrated Duke team, but much like you said, Duke beat a Houston team that wasn't as great as people thought. And this is now the second year in a row Houston's got knocked off, and that's probably going to be it for them. I don't see them getting back here again. I really don't. Next year I'm talking about. But I think two out of the four teams, I mean, Purdue against UConn, it's going to be sexy. It's going to be a sexy matchup. Two teams that, in my opinion, I think Purdue is going to blow out NC State this weekend. I think UConn's going to blow out Alabama. I really don't see those being matchups in any way, shape, or form. Purdue against UConn is what I think everybody's rooting for. And it's the two, and I've been saying this all year, and I've been saying it to you a lot. Both of them play the same style of basketball. They both have a huge center. They both have shooters around those centers. And I feel like they would make the perfect opponents for each other. So it's going to be a really interesting game when they actually play each other.
I think it's awesome because I'm making up the stats here, but I would say 40% of all brackets submitted had either UConn winning the championship or Purdue winning the championship. So all these bracket pools that you have in your office or what have you
Alive.
are going to be hinged on this game, right?
Yeah, still alive. Yeah, for sure. For
I
sure.
mean, and
Listen, nobody had NC State in the finals, and
no.
probably nobody had Alabama in the finals either. Um, yeah, no, it's going to be fun, man. The Elite Eight, though, I would expect that teams probably had. I mean, I know Duke was a 4 seed, but there's so many like huge Duke fans out there. I'm sure people have
Yes.
them. I
Yes,
don't
no
know,
doubt about that.
even the Elite Eight. I don't know how many people are having Clemson in there, and
No, I mean Clemson, we talked about it, was the team to get knocked out in the first round,
yeah,
and they wrote a nice little wave there. Yeah, it has been a miracle run for this NC State team. If they didn't win their conference tournament, they're not making the NCAA tournament.
That's
They
wild.
won wild, right? They won 5 straight games in 5 straight days. And I was reading an article about this team. They they almost got knocked off by Virginia in the ACC tournament, and we know what Virginia did in the play-in game. They got embarrassed, and they were the team that probably knocked off St. John's from getting in the tournament. The whole hoopla that stemmed from that, but exactly what you just said. This tournament is, yes, sometimes about matchups for the elite teams, but for the teams that are barely squeaking in, fighting for their life, it is getting hot at the right time and just riding that wave. Like if you said NC State, would you rather play in the Final Four this coming weekend, or would you rather take a day off and play? They are taking a day off and playing because they want to get to it, because they're riding high, they're feeling something, and there's something to be said about that confidence when you believe. Now they're believing every time they step on that court, they have a chance to win. I think it's all going to come crumbling down against this Purdue team because yes, they face quality opponents, but now we're the upper echelon in the country here between UConn and Purdue. And would it be an awesome story for NC State riding this into the championship game? I don't know if anybody's rooting for it except for NC State fans, because I think most people in the country want to see Purdue UConn.
Yeah, I think so too. And I agree completely with what you just said. I feel like if Purdue is playing NC State tomorrow, I still say Purdue wins. I don't think it's a blowout tomorrow. I really
Right.
don't. And I know that sounds crazy, like, oh, it's going to be a blowout on Saturday. Yes, because Purdue's a better basketball team, and they'll know that come Saturday. Whereas like tomorrow, NC State's still coming off that high of knocking off Duke and winning, past 10 games or whatnot it's been. And I feel like they would hang in there with the big boys for a while. Whereas like I feel like come Saturday, that realization is going to set in real quick that like, oh, Zach Edey's on the court. It's there's no way to defend him. It's over.
Right, right. Like I'm not kidding. When you watch DJ Burns out there, he is an animal. I mean, I still think he's got to be 40 pounds overweight, and he's not an NBA echelon player.
No,
Like he's
no,
just not, right?
no, but he's fun.
But he's giving up a foot. He's
Yeah,
giving up a full foot to Zach Edey when they play. Like that. That's not insignificant, right?
no, that's crazy. That's
That's
crazy.
that's like us playing against 6'9", or for me 6'9", 6'10" players. Like that's huge. That's absolutely a mammoth of a human being.
You're never
And
getting a rebound, Alex. That's just that doesn't that can't happen.
right.
That's impossible. And you can't win a basketball game if if your guy's not getting a rebound. So like they're gonna get a lot of second chance opportunities on the offensive glass. They're gonna get a lot of defensive rebounds. I can't imagine that this is not a double digit game. I really can't. Unless Purdue shoots like 2% from outside the arc. I don't know.
And that's what happened. Exactly what you just said. I'm reason why I'm bringing this up is because I had Arizona in that survivor pool that we talked about. And in that game, that team just went ice cold from beyond the arc. I forget what the stats was, but at some point they were literally like 3 for 20. And the thing that pissed me off is they were still in the game, but they never changed their offensive strategy. It
Right.
was literally go down, one pass, take the three, down the court, miss, brick, down the court. Literally go down, pass, brick, down the court. Like it's not working. Shift it up. Try to work the ball inside. Get a foul. Lay up. I don't do something other than what you're doing. It was like the only right way to run an offense was at the 3 point arc, and they never changed it. And when the second half starts and they came out ice cold, I'm like, all right, this game's over. If they don't change their strategy, they're not winning this game. They never changed their strategy, and they lost going away. And it was frustrating. I'm pissed. As you can tell, I'm pissed.
Yeah, no, I listen, I actually watched that game and I agree with you completely. They really did not change their strategy in any way, shape, or form. They just kept heaving it up and hoping to make it rain.
Oh my God. It was I literally it was a close game at half, not a close game. I think it was a 7 point game, something like that. I'm like,
Point,
all right,
point
what was
game at halftime.
okay. Um and I'm like, all right, they're gonna they're re-strategizing. They're like, all right, unless we get hot beyond the 3 point arc, we have to start changing our offense, working the ball inside. absolutely never did it. And they literally occasionally, I think it was one or two times in the second half, they tied the game. I don't think they ever went ahead in the second half, ever, the entire time.
Um, I'll double check that stat. They did go ahead briefly at the 14:33 mark with 14:33 remaining in the game. They were
Okay,
up,
would they
they were
go
up 46. They were up by one, 46.
one? Okay,
Yeah.
and that was it. It
That was
was it was beyond frustrating.
they were 5 for 28 shooting.
5 for 28. 5 for 28. They just kept chucking it up. Ah, it was just unbelievable. It was just unbelievable. But going back to UConn, I mean, they were the number one overall seed in the tournament, and my God, have they showed that they are the number one overall seed in the tournament. Their average margin of victory has been 27.8 points in this tournament. Just a bananas number. I think they're going to roll Alabama. And at one point against Illinois, who's no slouch of opponent, they were a very good team, a three-ranked team coming in. They went on a 30-0 run in that
Yeah,
freaking
close
game.
out the game.
Like, what is that? What is that? Like that's seventh and eighth grade basketball, 30-0 run. And you want to talk about their superstars, their big time center, their big time players. The thing that why they have been this consistent and why they can roll teams like this is their defensive prowess at all times. Their closeout, their help defense, their rebounding. They don't give up second chance points, which is huge because if God forbid that team goes cold or for whatever, they have the ability to work the ball inside. But if they for some reason go cold, inside and outside, they can still out effort you on the defensive side of the ball and shut you down. They are okay winning a game 55-45 if they have to. But they're winning these games 90-50, you know?
Yeah, they have the same team from last year, and they absolutely I don't remember a March Madness worse to watch than last year because every single game UConn just destroyed everybody. And I feel like that almost wasn't talked about enough. And then everybody just forgot about it. It was like we had the Men in Black pen and
Yes.
looked into the light, and everybody just forgot about it. And now we're like in the Final Four. We're like, wow, UConn hasn't played a close game. Like, yeah, they haven't played a close game in two March Madnesses. They've just been destroying everyone, and nobody wants to talk about it.
Yeah, I know. I
Yeah,
know.
they're going to blow out Alabama, and then they're going to go and meet a good foe in Purdue.
Probably their best opponent in 2 years now, right?
Probably their best opponent in 2 years. But if you also told me that they blew out Purdue, I would be like, all right, yeah, I can see it happening. Like I really could. I could because I don't know. Purdue, they just they win, right? They win, and Zach Edey was fired up after the game, which actually really jacked me up. It actually made me more of a believer seeing that guy like talk crap. I was like, oh, this is nice. This is good. But I feel like they're that
What
team.
what I missed that. What did he say
Oh, he
actually?
was all fired up, man. He said, I don't have the exact quote in front of me, but he did cuss. He said,
Oh,
yeah, he said the F word on live TV, and he said we're effing winners, like something like that. Uh,
okay.
but yeah, no, it really jacked me up.
Because
And
he rarely shows emotion. He really does. Like you,
oh,
you can't tell what the hell is going on.
he was. You gotta. I'll produce a cue up the clip. Yeah, yeah, we're gonna have producer gonna cue up the clip any second now, and we can show it. But he was fired up, and it was pretty cool.
Oh my God. Because that stat line in that game for him, 40 points, 16 rebounds down the stretch against Tennessee. He I mean he was not letting his team lose that game he's not going to let his team lose to NC State. He's going to be the best player on the court. He's going to be unstoppable on the defensive and offensive side of the ball. And if when push comes to shove, if push comes to shove, they're just going to keep feeding him the basketball. But the problem is UConn has a player of equal or better talent than him, and that kid's going to be a lotto pick in the NBA. And that's going to be if Edie can figure out a way to neutralize him for against UConn, then they'll have a puncher's chance. But if they can't, then forget it. It's gonna. I don't want to say it's an absolute blowout. But it definitely could be an issue for sure.
We queued that up for you, Alex. Here you go.
Nice job. Let's see it.
Specifically, what was your mentality in this game? They thought they knew us, man. They thought they knew we had knowledge. I promise you they did. We're fucking winners. That's what we do.
Wow, look at that. That was no joke. That really was no joke. And to live on T, he really shows no emotion. He really, you could never know if that team is down 10, up 15, if it's a national championship game or it's a regular season game in December. That guy shows no emotion. So maybe he's coming to the realization it's his senior year. Obviously, this is his last kick at the can here. Good for him. I mean, not to sound like a UConn hater, I'm rooting for Purdue.
Yeah, I mean, listen, UConn just won last year.
Right.
Purdue's a fun team to watch. And like I was just kind of saying before, they're a team that goes out there and yes, they win a lot, but I feel like it's always a game, like they make it fun. And it's just it's enjoyable to watch. It's enjoyable to watch sports when you guys are competing. Whereas UConn's blowing teams out by 30, like after 10 minutes of the game, you're like, all right, I got to find something else to do.
God, agreed. Agreed. Those games for the Final Four are, I don't want to say they're going to be duds, but they're going to be duds. It's the championship game, and everybody's rooting for UConn, Purdue matchup, except for me, who still wants NC State. The Cinderella's getting in there. It's not going to happen. Sorry, DJ. The ride ends this weekend. Sorry, my man. It was good. It was really good. But on the agenda for the weekend, it was the opening weekend for Major League Baseball. It has finally arrived, and my God, the New York Yankees are back, baby. They are back, and they are back with a vengeance. I'm watching them right now against Arizona. It's the bottom of the fifth. They're up 5-1. I mean, I can't believe. I know it's game 4 or whatever it is right now, game 5, and it's a 162 game season. And I don't want to overreact, but I am overreacting because we have talked about this for absolute years, how the team can't manufacture runs, and the microcosm of what we talked about literally happened in this game, where it was Volpe on first. He is stealing second. They let the fly ball or sac fly. There's a man on third. Sac fly into left field. The runner comes home. They throw the ball away. Volpe comes around second, forces the throw to third. Boom, overthrow, and he scores. And Cone said exactly what I'm thinking, like constant pressure, just constant pressure with regards to their speed, constant pressure on the plate, forcing pitchers to actually throw strikes. This is what they've never done. And the thing that was remarkable for the Yankees against Houston, first of all, it was a 4-game sweep in Houston that hasn't happened since Reagan was in office. So that's one thing. But it was the way they won these games. Their bullpen was absolutely lights out. They don't have their obviously best starter out there. And they were down in these games, the first 3 games, late in the game, going into the 6th and 7th inning. And last year, if Gleyber Torres or Aaron Judge weren't hitting or weren't figuring out a way to manufacture runs, guess what? This Yankees team did not score. DJ had a down year. Rizzo was hurt a majority of the year. If Judge and Gleyber weren't carrying this team, they weren't scoring, and that's really what it was. Guess what? Aaron Judge right now is hitting like 165. He stunk in that series. It's 4 games. We're not going to overreact to this, but they won all those games because the lineup has been lengthened. Juan Soto effect is absolutely crazy. He grinds out these at bats, and he was just incredibly clutch. Is he going to do this all year? No, he's not. But finally, you're watching a product on the field where you can actually enjoy, because for the last 2-3 years, and you can disagree with me, but I don't think you do, it hasn't been fun watching these games. It's been a grind because if they got down, or like I said, if 1 or 2 players weren't producing, they just never scored runs ever.
Yeah, I you know how I am with baseball. I love baseball. I can watch baseball daily. It's been really borderline impossible for me to watch the Yankees over the last, I would say, 5 seasons. It's been a long time where I've been like, I can't watch this team. They're not a team that they're not a team that I know. They're not a team that I would like want to root for. And I've always, that sounds sad when you say that as a lifelong Yankee fan. Like they just weren't a fun team to watch. They didn't play real baseball. There was so many things about them that I just didn't enjoy. And I don't. So listen, I loved getting Soto, right? I've also only seen Soto play a handful of times. I'll be the first person to tell you that. I always thought he was great because you kind of hear the chirping, like, "Oh, this guy's so good," and then you watch him play. I saw him in the World Series
Real
that year.
serious. Yeah.
Yeah, this guy's amazing. Wow, that's really good. But whatever, you're watching him for 6, 7 games. Watching him now, not only during the spring training, but watching the first 4 games of the season, and the way he, like you just said, he's not gonna keep it up throughout the year. No, obviously he's not gonna get clutch hit after clutch hit, and he's not gonna bat 500.
He's literally he was at batting 700 at one point. Like, come on.
That's impossible, right? But what he is going to keep up is the plate discipline. He's going to keep that energy up. He has a pep in his step that we have needed for so freaking long, man. He is so much fun to watch play baseball. And when you're around him, you're feeding off that energy. And you see the guys feeding off that energy. When he's walking in, he's skipping and he's jacked up because they just won a game. Everybody around him is just as jacked up as that. You can't help but feed off his energy. And if that guy's going to be around me for the next 10 years, sign me the fuck up because I want that around me.
I mean, absolutely. And from a business perspective, he puts asses in the seats. So just like we talked about with Otani, and it was the opposite with Snell and Jordan Montgomery. This is why both of those players didn't get multi-year deals. Soto will be the highest paid position player come the summer. I'm sorry, come the winter in Major League Baseball history. There's no doubt in my mind. It's going to be a bidding war between the Mets and the Yankees, and it's just going to be who blinks first. I don't think with the way the Mets have started this year and the outlook for their season, he is just going to be. I will make him the first $1 billion player if I need to. I say it half in jest, but I wouldn't be stunned. I would be stunned a little bit. Billions a lot.
I got to rein you back into reality here, pal.
But
You got a show to run.
you understand what I'm talking about. You know who his agent is. He's never going to let him sign with the Yankees in season. He's going to say, you have to go to free agency. And it's going, I mean, if the effing Dodgers are in on this bidding war, I'm going to snap on somebody. But in reality, I think it's going to be between the New York Mets and the New York Yankees. And obviously how this season goes for the Mets is gonna go a long way into that to just make his decision. But he's gonna be making a ton of money come the wintertime. That's inevitable. But you talked about the plate discipline. The plate discipline is huge for it's what they did in the 90s into the 2000s. They worked the count, they worked the pitchers, they got to the bullpen.
Yeah.
They weren't doing that in recent history. And having that protection or having Judge protect him in the lineup, it's forcing pitchers to throw to him. And when you look at his clutch hits in that Astros series, it wasn't home runs. Yes, he hit home runs, but it was the line drive that he laced to left field to bring in the game-winning run. I think it was game 3. Like, it was just that at bat where and it wasn't against slouch pitchers. It was against Josh Hader. These are big time bullpen guys in Major League Baseball, especially now for the Astros, and he beat him twice. And that's freaking huge moving forward. And he's not going to obviously keep this up, but he's going to be able to get on base. And that's what this team hasn't been able to do now, I feel like in 5 or 6 years. Nobody got on base.
I don't have the count in front of me, but it was an absurd stat the other day. It was like Volpe and Soto saw like 53 pitches combined in the game. Like, that's absurd. It was something that absurd. And I was like, wow, that's really a really good thing because, like you said, you're going to get deep into the bullpen. They're going to make more and more mistakes, or they're going to get tired. You're going to wear them down. You're going to wear them down for the series.
For the series, yeah.
It's a big thing, and we're finally playing baseball. We're actually bunting. We're stealing. Like, we look like a baseball team. We're playing good defense, great defense.
Great defense.
Yeah, got bailed out in the last Astros game. Bailed out tremendously multiple times actually. And Verdugo in left field is
Verdugo. Yeah.
He's an absolute stud in left field.
I know. And then so the stats for Soto were he reached base in 12 of his 20 plate appearance. He's getting on base more than 50% of the time, And the stat they just brought up here was, I think it was in 70 pitches that Volpe has faced this season, I think the number was he only has 2 swing and misses, which is a remarkable number.
Yeah, I mean, I listen. It's really early right
Early. It's so early.
now. Games. He had a pretty bad season last year. So Boone kept telling us though. Boone kept saying like, just watch out for this guy. Like this kid's good, man. He's gonna be really good. And so far, he's starting off really really hot in this season. He's above 500. He's 538 right now
Right.
with 647 OBP and a 923 slugging percentage. So yeah, he's pretty hot right now.
You want to
Again,
know what?
games into it, but still.
Exactly. You know what? You know what's crazy is 5 games into it, and they just showed that the Astros just no hit Toronto. That's how impressive what the Yankees just did. I mean, again, 5 games into it, but they just hit no. They just showed a stat or the highlights. They just hit no hit Toronto and Houston. So, um, the rotation has been everything you want it to be. That Marcus Stroman. I mean, obviously, I was just crapping on him before he signed and crapping on him after he signed. I mean, and again, it's one start, but that's all you want from him, who's going to be your third and fourth starter at the end of the day here. Bring that energy, able to get through 5 innings, maybe 6 innings, get your 3 runs, get it to the bullpen. And he was good. And tonight with Gil, he's been phenomenal. This game's going to the top of the 6th. It's still 5-1, the Yankees. And then on the flip side. The flip side is the Mets. I mean, it couldn't start worse. It literally could not have started worse for the Mets. Opening day, they got 1 hit, and I mean the classic line from Major League with 1 hit, one goddamn hit. I was dying. And I know so many people who went to that game. They said it was freaking freezing. And to come out like that, to get 1 hit. I mean, granted, the 1 hit was a home run, so give props to Starling Marte there. And then to get swept by Milwaukee, and then they lost again tonight. Their offense is a real problem, man. They cannot talk about the Yankees last year not being able to score runs. That offense is going to be a bottom 5 offense in the league. And if they don't figure out a way to manufacture something, because it was 0-0 going into extra innings. They ended up losing the game 5-0 or something like that. 5-0.
Yep.
Yeah, to Detroit. So that is 4 games into the season, and how many runs have they actually scored?
Yeah, you're right.
It's not good. But there is a saving grace, possibly, in that your boy Trevor Bauer, the news came out of at Mets Field. What?
This was an April Fool's joke.
No!
Was. And I thought you were setting me up for it. But after a little research, I found out that it was indeed an April Fool's joke.
Oh my God, I was going to.
I was cursing you out for a while, I'm not gonna lie. Alex had told me that Trevor Bauer was signed by the Mets to a 1-year deal, and I was very, very upset. It ruined most of my day. And then I found out not too long ago that you in fact lied.
I did not lie, because it was not an April Fool's joke to me. I thought it was the real deal. That was a legit account. I'm getting screwed by Twitter. How can we verify, Elon? Can we get on the ball here? Like, these are verified accounts who are doing this. It's unacceptable. That being said, Mets, what are we doing? Sign him.
I know. You're right. You're right.
It's funny. I shouldn't have fell for it, because they never released any of the financials, nothing whatsoever, along with it. And that should have been the dead giveaway. But you know what? I saw it. I saw red. I sent it to you, and I was like, good to go. Like, here we go. But it wasn't. It was April's Fool the whole way.
The whole way, baby. The whole way. They got you, and they got me second-handedly.
How did you verify it?
Well, a quick Google search showed. It's this crazy thing called Google nowadays that you can type in things and see if they're fact or fiction.
Oh, that's annoying. That is. I mean, I should have done it, but I trusted Twitter. I really did.
You should have done it, considering
Oh my
most
God.
but, a New York sports show nonetheless. But,
No, it's just. I mean, you know what they say.
I know.
You you have a trusted source, you go with it. Most people do verify it by 3 different sources. I go with one source, completely unknown, go with it and start spreading it like wildfire.
So listen, let's get into the Mets a little bit because every year, and I'm not knocking the fans. I'm not because I'm that fan when it comes to the Jets and the Islanders. So I get it. I understand. But I think I have a little bit of common sense, whereas I feel like the Met fans take like stupid pills year in and year out, and they really believe like, nah, this is the year. This is the year. They did nothing to solidify themselves as an actual baseball team. And everybody this year is like, they're a playoff team or bust. Oh, I got news for you. It's
They
bust.
bust.
It's bust because they're not a playoff team. They don't have a playoff rotation and they don't have a playoff lineup. So I'm not sure what you're thinking about or what you're watching, but ain't no way in hell are the New York Mets making the playoffs. And I know that we're only 4 games into the season if you're a Met fan, but it's just not happening, guys. So I want to get that out of the way right now.
I mean, in actuality, the only legit players on this team are Francisco Alvarez right now, and I mean Edwin Diaz. Hopefully, when he came back, I think he's only pitching 1 game, maybe 2 games. But the whole thing that's going on with Pete Alonso, did you hear about that?
No, give it to me.
So, he showed up. I mean, obviously, it was the night of either opening day or the next day. I forget. But he went to a oh man, it's Zach Brown. I think it's Zach Brown. Went to a Zach Brown concert at either UBS or Barclays. I forget. It might have been UBS. And fans are up in arms about this. And I was talking to Sixer. He's obviously the big polar bear, Alonso, absolute hater. He has a
Yeah.
guy on each one of his teams that he hates. It was Truba, but now he's off the Truba train. He's okay with him. He absolutely despises Pete Alonso. I'm not sure why. And ironically, he doesn't have any hatred toward anybody on the Jets. He can't see the Jets in a bad light. Everything that they do, he just absolutely loves their draft strategy every year. He loves the moves that they make in the offseason, but somehow it all falls apart. But anyway, I digress. But what do you think about that? As a fan of the team, can these guys only have a social life when the team is doing well? Like, let's just say he
No,
had plans to go to
no,
this concert, go up on the stage, and that was the thing. He went up on the stage, and I think he started singing or something along those lines. So everybody knew he was there.
no. Have fun, bro. Do your
But
thing.
like, people are up in arms about this. Like, he can't be locked in at all times. Could you imagine if in your job being locked in at all times, your work
In
product is
anybody's
going
job,
to
it doesn't
be
matter. It doesn't matter. And in anybody's job, you're allowed to go out and have fun. This isn't the playoffs. He's not in the World Series or something like that where he needs to be like focused. He was going out, letting off some steam, having a good time. He's more than allowed to go do that. And the Mets suck. What are you gonna do? Like you're playing for the Mets, man. Like what more do you want me to say? Like you don't think these people know that? You don't think they know they're playing for the New York Mets? And no, I'm being dead serious right now. You're looking at me and you're laughing, but I'm being dead serious. Like it's the franchise. It's a bunch of losers. Everybody knows that. And when you're playing for losers, you're gonna play like a loser. That's what it is. It
it
is
just
what it is.
it just breeds itself.
It really does, though, Alex. It's like going to AEW or versus WWE. Like it's a big difference. One's Major League and one's Bush League. It is what it is, pal. So like, would I expect Juan Soto to do that playing for the Yankees? No, but we have class.
So so in your heart of hearts, come the offseason, do you think if it comes down to a bidding war between the Yankees and the Mets for Soto, what percentage are you giving the Mets to land him?
1%.
What if the numbers significantly different?
It's not. It's just not how it works. What are they gonna do? Outbid by 300 million? Like, what are they gonna do?
You
How is
think
it significantly different?
let's just say that I don't know. Maybe
You asked the hypothetical question and you don't know the answer
I'm
to your own hypothetical question.
let's just say the length of the contract, the overall difference is something like $100 million. The Mets are outbidding them by $10 million a year.
So $10 million a year. How many years? 10
10
years?
years. 10
10
years.
years different?
No, both teams are. Yeah, you don't think he's
So
gonna
they're
get a
both
ten
saying
year?
10 years. Mets are saying 700 million and the Yankees are saying 600 million.
Yeah,
All right. So I'll ask you a question. Would that matter to you?
No, not at those numbers.
It wouldn't matter to anybody. It wouldn't matter to anybody. The hell are you gonna do with $600 million, Alex? Like, doesn't matter. Off him $2 billion at that point. What does it matter? What's gonna change his life? He's gonna buy a better jet. He's gonna buy a better what? A better car? A better flying car? Like
I am 100% with you, but you know what these guys do. He wants to.
Not for the Mets, dude. Listen, you got a shitty organization offering you $100 million more when you're already getting hypothetically $600 million is apparently what we're saying right now. And with the Yankees comes, basically having anything. You're right. You're the center of the freaking universe if you're playing for the Yankees, and he's one of the best players in the sport. So he's going to have all the marketing people. What is that? Marketing money and all that stuff. You know what I'm talking about.
The advertisers and
advertisers,
the endorsements.
Yeah. The endorsements. I couldn't think of the damn word. He's going to have all the endorsements. That's going to more than make up for things right there. And he's also going to do something called winning, which I know is very different. If you're a Met fan, you've never really heard that word before, but the Yankees win a lot. So they're going to win. They'll probably win some World Series, have the endorsements. He'll be all over the news. He'll be on the Jimmy Fallon show. He'll be on the A to Z podcast. He'll be all the places. So no, he's choosing the Mets. He's not going to the Mets. That's a freaking joke. The only thing the Mets are going to do is bid up his price tag, which is why Boris is salivating already.
He really is. He's just going to be stringing the Mets along. Be like, he's close. He's close. I think if you just give him this number, I think we're going to be about 30%. We're going to be.
Oh, we can go from that.
Okay, good.
Chance up.
Yeah, like, all right, the Yankees give me this. The Mets. Now, if you just give us about 50 million more, there's like a 5% chance maybe we'll come back. All right, you're good. All right, Yankees, you got to match that.
Yeah, that's what it is, man. And listen, there's not going to be $100 million difference anyway, but I can see it being like a $30 million difference or $40 million difference. But I don't think that changes anything in any way, shape, or form.
I am intrigued to see what Boris does with this contract. If he makes it so he makes it so gets him to a year. I mean, like to a point where he can sign another huge ticket. Am I making sense there? Like a $10 million ticket is gonna bring him well into his 30s. I'm sorry, a 10-year deal is gonna bring him well into his 30s, as opposed to if you sign 4 or 5-year deal, he's gonna be able to sign another huge free agent deal. I don't know. It's a big risk though.
Yeah, that's not juice ain't worth the squeeze there. When you're signing a crazy deal, which he's about to sign, it's just why? What is it? Why? Like, why would you sign a 5-year deal, 250 million, and then maybe inflation goes crazy and maybe you're a stud athlete for the next 5 years, and then you sign another deal and you snag another 100 million. But in that same scenario, what does it matter if you can just sign a $500 million contract? It is what it is. And also, if he signs that contract and he gets hurt 3 days later, he's still getting paid.
I'm with you. I am definitely with you. Kind of a wild, completely off topic here, but kind of a wild story out of the women's NCAA tournament. So legitimately, I think it was in an Elite Eight game. I think it was an Elite Eight game. Maybe it was a Sweet 16. 2 teams on the court. When they put the court down, they measured wrong for the 3-point arc. Did you see that?
No, I didn't.
Legitimately, both sides of the court, one was off by 9 inches.
How'd they figure that out during the game?
You could clearly see it.
Really?
The distance from the top of the key to the 3-point line, from the top of the key to the 3-point line was visually way off. And then they finally brought out the tape measure, and one was 9 inches short.
Wow. During the game, they did this. They brought up the tape
before the game.
Okay.
Before the game, and the teams had to agree to play on the surface and agree to play the game under those conditions.
So they counted a 3-pointer from where the line was on the court?
No, yep, correct.
How'd that go?
So it was, I mean, it went fine. It wasn't like an issue because for college, women's college, they play 4 quarters instead of 2 halves like the boys do. So it really didn't affect the game that much. But I'm like, how does that happen? Like, how are you making these lines? How are you not quadruple checking where the lines are being marked out. But it's just amazing how something like that happens for the women's game, unfortunately. Like they're in the spotlight because of something stupid like this, you know? When we've talked about it, the hype around the players that played tonight in that Iowa LSU game. Guess what? I was watching that freaking game for Caitlin Clark.
Yeah.
It turned out to be kind of a dud of a game, and not really competitive at the end. And Caitlin Clark in the second half just kind of took over. But for that game and that tournament to get recognition for something stupid, it's just like that sucks.
How does it not? You said they play 4 quarters and the men only play 2 quarters, so it didn't
Play
have
two halves, two halves.
2 halves. Right. 2 halves. Sorry, the men play 2 halves and women play 4 quarters, so it didn't really have much to do with the game. They're both playing on the court the same amount as the men. What are you talking about?
Well, yeah, well, they switch. Yes, but they switch sides. I mean, I
So
get what you're saying. It's the same.
they,
It's
but
the
they switch
same.
sides and
They
this.
do, they do. But like, you know what I'm talking? How am I making any sense out of this?
Well, you're not.
I'm gonna try. Give me a chance on this one, okay?
All right. No, you
So
you got the floor, pal.
okay, so if you like during a basketball game, and especially that long period of time, 20 minutes for a half, if you can get that ball rolling down the court and you're hitting your threes, you're hitting your threes, you're hitting your threes, like that's a big momentum builder. And like let's just say you go on a 20-0 run, something like UConn did, because you're shooting at a closer 3-point line. It's hard to break that momentum. You agree that momentum is something in
Well, I
sports?
agree with that completely. I'm just confused because
So
they're
the
same
girls
time as the guys.
well, the girls can break the momentum easier because it's shorter quarters. You have to switch sides. That was my point. I think it was well
Okay.
taken.
All right. No. It's better spoken out that way. I get it.
All right. All right. Wow. I can't believe I swung you that good. Interesting. Interesting.
What else could I get away with today?
Exactly. Exactly. I want to end on the Islanders. Unfortunately, they had
Oh,
a
God. We won today, so that's good at
they
least.
did. It was a huge game. It was a huge game going against Philadelphia, who they are chasing for third place in the Metropolitan. They played a really good second half of the first period, a really good second period. They got absolutely dominated in the third period. And I was talking to my father-in-law. My wife was talking to my father-in-law. He is actually writing a letter to the league to enforce that the third period is only 19 minutes long because it's very obvious that they cannot hold on to leads.
That's
And
great.
of course, it was 3-2. The Flyers pulled their goalie with like 4 minutes left because everybody in the league knows that the Islanders can't score with an open net. They might as well just play the entire third period without a goalie.
Yeah.
And 9 seconds left. A shot goes through. Bing, bang, boom. Ricochets, God knows how many times. Puck goes in the net. It could have been a challenge for goaltender interference because you watch it. I think Varlamov got pitchforked into the net, but it's too much of a risky challenge. They challenge it, they keep the play as called on the ice. The next thing you know, you have a power play going into so you're on the penalty kill going
Right.
into overtime. So I get not challenging that play, and
Well, they needed the win. They really did. I mean,
they needed the win in regulation.
well,
Really,
sure, 2 points is obviously better, but they didn't get the 2 points. They at
no.
least gained a point on the Flyers, and that's better than nothing. So we're still chasing, and we're playing okay, but
Okay, yeah.
okay, we're playing okay, but I don't think it's going to be good enough, pal.
I don't think it's going to be good enough either. And the bottom line, their margin of error right now is nothing. They're going against the next two games. I think Chicago and Columbus, two of the worst teams in the league. Um, and if you don't come out with 4 points out of that, then you don't deserve it. Listen, they don't deserve it at all. With the way they've ended this season. But if you can't come out with 4 points out of these next two games, then you don't deserve it whatsoever. But at least they got the W tonight. They didn't get much help. I think the Red Wings ended up winning. The Penguins won. So they still need a lot of teams to.
Penguins are under us. We don't really have to worry about the
No,
Penguins.
you don't. You definitely don't. But they're not that far under us. That's for
No,
sure.
no, they're only 2 points away from us. I get that. I'm just stating that the people ahead of us the Capitals and the Lightning and the Flyers.
Yeah, they're not catching the Lightning. The Lightning have been playing
Yeah,
lights
they're,
out.
they're not catching the Lightning. They have 89 points and we have 79. So with
Right.
10 points away from them, not happening. But the Capitals and the Flyers are within reach. The Red Wings also have 82 points as well, but they're technically out of it right now.
The key part of the Flyers is that the Islanders, what? How many games in hand they have on the Flyers? The Flyers have played one more game or two more games in them.
Man, you're asking me if I can do math right now. We have two more games than the Flyers. The
Okay,
Flyers
so
played two more games than us.
yeah, so that's a big deal. That can't go overlooked. Um, and the Flyers right now are not playing with the starting goalie. They're makeshift in the starting goalie, and freaking John Tortorella is one of the best coaches in the league, and that's really what it comes down to. It's just a disappointing. It's going to be a disappointing end of the season. I am not getting my hopes up, although I am getting my hopes up like I always do.
Yeah, of course.
But it's inevitable. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, and it's going to be heartbreaking when they miss the playoffs by 1 point, 2 points, or they miss worse. They miss the playoffs because of a tiebreaker because they never won a game in regulation.
Yeah, yeah, and we gave away a lot of lead
Oh
last like
God.
minutes of a game. And I listen, I'm gonna repeat myself for the 25 episodes, 25th time then I guess. We weren't gonna go anywhere anyway in the playoffs.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I love playoff hockey. It's the greatest thing ever. If you're not a hockey fan, I highly suggest you tune into a playoff hockey game because you will be a hockey fan after that. It's the greatest thing ever. Watching the Islanders play playoff hockey is so much fun. And if we got past the first round, that'd be great. I just don't see it going anywhere from there. And I don't know. There's a lot of good hockey teams in the league this year, and I just don't feel like we match up with very well with those teams. The Bruins, the Panthers, the Hurricanes, and the Rangers are just four teams in our Eastern Conference that I feel like we can't beat in a 7-game series. Honestly, I really don't.
Yeah, the parody is the best the NHL has seen. I mean, I tweeted this out. I think the Boston Bruins are a paper tiger. I think they look good. I think their record is good. Their point total is good, but they're going to get, unless they play Toronto, because Toronto cannot beat them. They're going to get bounced in the first round. They just don't have the depth down the center, which is what you need in the playoffs. Listen, I know they have the goaltending. I know it's very hard to score against them, but unless they play Toronto, I am betting against Boston all day. Florida right now has been disappointing. I mean, they made some good moves at the deadline. They got our boy Okposo from Buffalo. They traded for Tarasenko. They looked good for about 2-3 games, and now they've kind of nosedived here, which is okay. Listen, it's a long freaking season. You want to integrate different lines, different players. Sometimes it's very difficult to do that, and I think that's what they're going through right now with their growing pains. And they know that they just need to be playing right when the playoffs start, which is what they did last year and have propelled them to the Stanley Cup Finals. And then you got the Canes. I, I was high on Florida, but the Canes, man, they are just crazy consistent, and they finally got their scorer in Gensel. But you can't overlook the Rangers. They have been by far the most consistent team all year. They have the firepower. My boy Igor, I think, is still the best goalie in the league. He'll steal you games that he shouldn't be stealing, and this is going to be one of the most entertaining Stanley Cup playoffs we've seen in quite some time.
Yeah, so listen, I've been saying all year that the Rangers are my favorite to win the cup. It hurts my soul to say that. I think they're the best team in hockey, but playoff hockey, anything could happen over those 7-game series, and teams get hurt and energy gets drained. And I think I'm gonna call it a dark horse. You're probably gonna make fun of me, but I'm gonna say a dark horse to watch out for is gonna be Edmonton. I really feel like Edmonton could make a very deep run. And again, I know it's not much of a dark horse when you have the greatest hockey player on earth playing for your team, but I'm going with that. I think that Edmonton is going to make a very deep run. I can see them coming out of the West and the East. I think they're just going to beat up. Everybody's going to beat up on each other. I really do. It's going to be everybody beating up on each other.
I like the Edmonton pick, and I'm a big firm believer that the greatest players need to win. And I think McDavid is realizing that he was close a couple of years ago. And he's playing, that whole team plays on another level. It's just a matter of what they could do on the play in the playoffs, and if they can get the goaltending come the playoff time. But looking at the Islanders' schedule to end it, okay, like I said, they are at home for Chicago tomorrow. I didn't realize it was oh my God, I didn't realize that it was back to back. Jesus Christmas, they have been terrible on back to backs, and they're now traveling from Philly. So who the hell knows what you're gonna get tomorrow night? I was hoping it was a day off, but it's not. So it's Chicago tomorrow night, CBJ on Thursday. Nashville's been playing freaking lights out. They are on just an absolute heater. I think they've gotten points in like 17 of the last 18 games. 2 days off. Then they're home for the Rangers, home for Montreal, away for the Rangers, away for New Jersey, and then they end up with Pittsburgh. Um, I mean, out of those games, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games left. You'd have to think they got to get 6 wins to even have like a realistic chance. And let's face it, they haven't put in 6 wins out of 8 games almost all season. So again, not hopeful, but I'll be tuning in.
Probably 6 real wins too, right? Where they're not
Regulation wins. Yeah, yeah. Uh, they're so far behind on the tiebreaker. I'm with you. That would be ideal to get regulation wins, but they would have to beat a team outright in points, I think, in order to win.
Gotcha. So I guess it doesn't matter. We're not playing anybody that's above us. Like
No.
wise.
Yep, they're not playing Washington. They're not playing the Red Wings. They're not playing Philadelphia again.
Okay. So
Tonight
yeah,
was the night to do the damage. They didn't get the 2 points in regulation they wanted. They gave that point away, unfortunately. They did get the win. Listen, their season's still alive. It's on absolute life support. Somebody's doing CPR. But tomorrow night's a must win. They don't come out with a win tomorrow night in regulation, then you might as well close the book on it.
I mean the Flyers are playing bad right now. They've lost 5 straight.
They're playing bad. Listen, they're in a tailspin too. They're in a tailspin too.
That 2 games that we have on them. If we win 2 games quick, all of a sudden it's tied, and we're looking good, and they're going the other way. That might not be the worst thing in the world.
not to do this, but this is what their season, their schedule looks like. They have 3 days off now after that game against the Islanders, so that's a big 3 days off. So we're making up those 2 games in those 3 days.
Right.
Then they are away in Buffalo, away in Columbus. So two of the worst teams in the league, not Buffalo, but Columbus. Then they are away from Montreal, away for New Jersey, and who knows? I'm sorry, away for the Rangers. So who knows what the Rangers are playing for at that point? Home for New Jersey,
They're playing all bad teams, is essentially what you're saying.
and then home for New Jersey, and then they end the season, ironically, home for Washington. That could decide either a playoff spot or one team could be eliminated and one team could be fighting for playoffs.
That's the only team fighting for a playoff spot that they're playing. Everybody else is eliminated.
You're not wrong. Well, except for the Rangers, but again, what are the
Oh,
Rangers playing
I
for?
didn't hear you say that they're playing the Rangers at some point.
Yep, yep. And then looking at Washington to end it, at Buffalo, home for Pitt, at Carolina, home for Ottawa, at Detroit, at Buffalo, home for Tampa Bay, home for Boston, at Philadelphia. Those last 3 games are big. Tampa, Boston, Philly, and they play Detroit in there as well. And that's a hard schedule down the stretch. They've been playing phenomenal, but they're playing a Buffalo team who's playing free because they know they're out of the playoffs. Pittsburgh, who's been playing better. Carolina, who's playing exceptional. Ottawa stinks. Detroit's playing for their playoff lives, so that you just for the Islanders' sake, you can't have a 3-point game there. Buffalo, whatever. Tampa Bay, Boston, and Philly to end it. So it ain't gonna be easy for Washington coming home either.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fun.
A little bit of a weird schedule too. We play Chicago at home tomorrow.
Yeah, out of
And
nowhere.
and then out of nowhere. And then we fly out to Columbus, and then we come back home to play Nashville, Rangers, and Montreal.
It's
Like
weird.
I can see us winning tomorrow. The Blackhawks suck. I can see us winning that tomorrow, but I feel like going to Columbus is going to be one of those weird games where we're just going to try to get through and hopefully steal a win. But I can see us being half asleep the whole time.
Yep, but they don't get 4 points. I'm not gonna be locked back in until they get 4 points out of these next 2 games. That's the bottom line. They don't get 4 points. I'm not locked back in.
Sure,
I
you're
am.
you're
I
gonna
am
be
just.
locked
I'm
in.
just in. I'm just in,
Yeah,
not
yeah,
locked in. Okay. but I know you have been locked in on the wrestling. Can you give us some Cliff Notes version
Uh,
previewing, just Cliff Notes version, Z, okay? For our listeners of what is the preview for WrestleMania. I know we were late logging on tonight because I was watching you watch The Rock in Raw entertain you, and it was like watching you as a 14-year-old boy again.
it's just phenomenal what they've been doing. Like they have made wrestling cool again. And I'm a 39-year-old man talking about WWE right now, which is pretty unique and pretty neat. And The Rock has come back and he's been on every show basically since he's come back. And he's cussing up a storm. Like every other word out of his mouth is the F bomb or other words that we shouldn't say to the listeners. And it's been a wild story. And he's brought back his like big Hollywood persona, and he's brought back his old entrance theme, which was like the Hollywood Rock entrance theme, but it has like a new flair to it because it has like he chopped it up. So it's got like the new opening, like if you smell, and then he comes out, all this electricity shooting all over the place, and then like the melody changes into his old rock persona, which is just incredible. And that's for throwback fans, not like you fair you fair weather fan over there. But he's been doing a phenomenal job. They wrestle Saturday night. This Saturday night is WrestleMania night 1. Night 2 is on Sunday. Saturday night, The Rock and Roman Reigns are fighting Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins. And then if the Rock and Roman win, then Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns will be fought under bloodline rules for Sunday night, which we're assuming just means anything goes. If Seth Rollins and Cody win on Saturday night, then Cody's match will be the bloodline will be banned from the ringside. So I'm quite certain that Rock and Roman win Saturday night, making it bloodline rules match. So that's been the biggest draw to me, has been, The Rock being back and all this being a whole lot of fun.
What is your prediction for how it all gets wrapped up finally?
I mean, I kind of said this to you a while ago. Like, there's a lot of people out there that are expecting The Rock to turn on Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, setting up their feud, their match, that we've been expecting for 5 years now. I don't see that happening. I actually think that The Rock is going to wrestle quite a bit. And when I say quite a bit, I'm not talking about 25 matches, but I think he is going to be pretty heavily involved in WWE over the next couple of years. And I think that Sunday is going to be, if I'm writing it, I'm being the fantasy booker right now, and I'm just like salivating while you're asking me this question, honestly. I think that Rock and Roman win Saturday night. So they get the bloodline rules on Sunday. So Sunday comes, Cody Rhodes beating Roman Reigns up. So now the bloodline runs in, and there's a whole bunch of people just beating up Cody, and he needs help, right? He's gonna need some people. And I think John Cena is gonna wind up running out. I think, probably Jey Uso is gonna run out to help him out. And at some point, I think the glass is going to break and Stone Cold is going to run out. And
Okay, what?
I think it's going to be Stone Cold and The Rock face to face in the ring for the 4th WrestleMania, because they main evented 3 WrestleManias together. Don't forget that. And then I think they're going to be face to face in the ring. And I think the fans are going to have this holy shit moment. And I think we're going to get to see The Rock sell another stunner. And then I think Cody's going to hit Roman with his finishing move 3 times, get that pinfall, finally finish his story. And then I just feel like you're going to have more stories to tell with The Rock. I think The Rock could, theoretically, he could fight Stone Cold again. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen. I'm just saying theoretically it could happen. It'll at least have fans talking about it. I think you're going to wind up having The Rock then headline against Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam. So now you're getting another match out of The Rock. And then ultimately after that, that's where you're going to have the turn where like Roman and Rock could start, bickering at each other, and then culminating in a match between the two of them at WrestleMania 41.
Okay.
That's where I'm seeing this going. I'm seeing The Rock being involved in wrestling for over a year.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then retire on that.
I mean, you don't retire in wrestling. That's the thing. Like, you never say never. They say that all the time because you just never know what to expect. And you have guys retire, obviously, because that's a marketing gimmick. Like, oh,
Hmm.
it's gonna be, this is the going away party, this is swan song, it's a retirement match, whatever it is. But you never say never in the business. Stone Cold came back years later. Edge came back after 10 plus years. Surgeries get easier and people love it. It's different than Tom Brady playing football, right? In 10
Hmm.
years, Tom Brady can't get back to the
Yeah.
NFL because can't happen and he'll probably die on the field, right? But in the fantasy world where you can have linebackers pull up on you and not tackle you to the ground, and you can kind of
Still
write
do it.
stories and you can maneuver around the certain moves that you have to maneuver around. It's fun for the fans, it's fun for the audience, and that's what it's been, man. Like I thoroughly have enjoyed watching wrestling, and I haven't watched in a very, very, very long time. It's not like, oh, I'm just sitting here every Monday and Friday watching wrestling. Like, I'll check in on like the dirt sheets and just see what happened, just to kind of like stay up on stories and stuff, because I still I like the thought of wrestling or the product. I don't necessarily have the time. And I'll try to watch like they're called PLEs now, but they're essentially pay-per-views that you and I grew up on,
Hmm.
and I'll try to watch those. But in reality, I'm only watching the main ones, like the SummerSlams, the Survivor Series, Royal Rumbles, and WrestleManias. Um, Here and there, you'll mix in like a Money in the Bank or an Elimination Chamber or something along those lines. But ever since The Rock has come back, I've been absolutely glued to the TV, and Zach loves it. So like every time he runs out, like he's all about The Rock. It's been wonderful. He's done a phenomenal job at selling this WrestleMania.
Good for him. I
Yeah.
mean, that's what it's about, right? It's strictly entertainment. And the guy puts fannies in the seats, and who knows? Maybe I'll take a peek at the old WrestleMania this weekend. Maybe one, maybe not both days, but at least one.
I think you will. I think you'll be hanging out with me at some point.
What for those of us that don't know, you said that The Rock and Stone Cold face off 3 times in WrestleMania,
Yes.
and what happened in those matches?
The Rock. So the first one, The Rock was the corporate Rock. He was the champion. Stone Cold beat him. That was WrestleMania 15. I'm going off memory here, so I might be a little wrong. That was definitely WrestleMania 15, though. Stone Cold beat him, and then they fought again at man, I'm gonna say it was 18, and that was like probably the greatest buildup, I would say, of all time, of all WrestleMania matches. That was the greatest buildup. They were both baby faces. They were both good guys, and they were both just red hot, just absolutely at the top of their games. And to me, I grew up watching wrestling. So to me, I kind of looked at it as like the Hulk Hogan versus Ultimate Warrior match, where they were both baby faces and they were both at the top of their game and they were both red hot. And it's almost like you
You don't
don't
know what?
do this. You don't do this in wrestling. Like you got to have a baby face. You got to have a heel. Like you don't let the fans fight it out. And I thought that was really unique back when Hogan did it. When Hogan did it with Warrior, and it was even more unique when Rock and Austin did it. And it was insane. It was really a great match up until the ending. I didn't necessarily love the ending. Stone Cold turned heel at the end of the match. He aligned himself with Vince McMahon, which was like crazy. It was like watching an M. Night Shyamalan film. You're like, I can't believe this. Like, this is nuts. He's been feuding with this guy for years, and now he's aligned with him. So I still, looking back on that, I watch that match all the time, and I don't love the ending. I would have rathered him win dirty. I was like fine with him turning heel, but not really overly turning heel with the Vince McMahon thing. Having him win dirty and then having him like align with Vince on Monday Night Raw, like the very next night, I would have been more content with that. Whatever, it didn't happen. It also, I loved Austin's heel run though. Like I felt like he was really, really funny during it. And he showed a totally different side, and it led to a lot of cool moments. Anyway, I digress. I'm getting off track. The third time they fought was actually Stone Cold's last match as a full-time performer. He was hospitalized the night before. Nobody knew this because it didn't come out until after the fact. And The Rock beat him. And The Rock and him had a moment after the match while Stone Cold was laying, down on the mat. The Rock like tucked his head in. You can see him like talking to him and like kind of tapping him. And that was it. The Rock finally beat his biggest rival at WrestleMania. And then Stone Cold sailed off to the sunset. And we didn't see him again wrestle until WrestleMania. I think it was last year. I think it was WrestleMania last year where he fought Kevin Owens in like kind of like a street fight type match. And it was cool. It was cool to see him back.
Mm. Wow. All right. WrestleMania this weekend. Tune in and we'll do a little quick recap on Monday when we come back. So you gotta be locked in because I'm not gonna know any of the storylines.
Oh, I will be. You don't have to worry about that.
All right, man. Let's get to some trivia. You ready?
I am ready. I got one for you right off the bat.
All right, hit it.
All right. Which player holds the most Grand Slams hit in a Major League Baseball I'm sorry, in Major League Baseball history? Which player holds the record for most Grand Slams hit in Major League Baseball history?
Alex Rodriguez.
That was wow. Good for you, Alex. Good for you.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
He's got 25.
Yes.
25 Grand Slams.
Yes, he does.
It's a lot of Grand Slams.
Yeah. All right. That was the one you brought?
That's what I got. Yeah.
All right, man.
You just aced it though.
Let's try to get some better research next time. Okay. My question, I did Major League Baseball again. Because it was the opening weekend. All right. Can you tell me the top 5 most playoff appearances by team? So which teams in Major League Baseball have the most playoff appearances?
Yankees.
Well, Yankees are number 1 with 52 playoff appearances.
Yeah, baby.
God.
The Mets. No, I'm joking. That's funny. The Dodgers.
Dodgers are number 3 with 31.
Yankees, Dodgers, Giants.
Giants number 4, 27.
Okay, Yankees, Dodgers, Giants. That's no way it's them. Braves.
Braves are not
Really?
on there.
Wow. Okay. All right. Not the Braves. Not the Braves. Phillies?
Nope.
Yes. Nah, it's Phillies. I knew it wasn't gonna be the Phillies. That's a bad guess. I'm missing 2 teams.
Yeah, number 5 is
Cleveland?
hard.
Cleveland, the Indians? The Guardians?
Nope. Nope. 5 is hard. 2 you should get.
Houston Astros.
Nope.
Wow. St. Louis Cardinals.
St. Louis Cardinals, number 2 with 32 playoff appearances. Number 5 is real hard. And quite frankly, I'm questioning if this is correct.
All right. Well, I feel like now I'm going to start guessing bad teams based off of what you were saying to me. The Miami Marlins,
No.
the Colorado Rockies,
Nope.
Oakland Athletics.
Boom. The Oakland Athletics with 26 playoff appearances. The A's haven't had much postseason success lately, but they were regular playoff participants in the early 1900s as well as the 1970s and 1980s. In
Okay.
fact, they've won 9 World Series titles and 15 AL pennants.
Yeah, I mean, listen, that's yeah. If you didn't say that, I wouldn't have guessed those last 3 teams at all.
Right? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The Athletics were a complete wild one for me. All right, my other question to you is, oh, all right. What teams can you give me top 5 again for baseball that has the highest postseason series winning percentage?
The highest postseason winning percentage.
Not game wise, series winning.
Okay. Jeez. I mean,
Makes it kind of a little harder, actually.
we're gonna stick with the Yankees.
Yankees, yep, the Yankees are number 2. They have a 640 win percentage, 55 and 31.
Okay. I don't think they. I mean, I'm still gonna say the Dodgers.
Dodgers are not there.
Um, the Braves.
Nope. Wow, the Dodgers have struggled. They're 18th on this list, 464 winning percentage, 26 and 30.
I mean, it
They
can't.
played in 56 postseason series.
I feel like this question could be skewed if the team only, played 6 games or something and won 5 of them.
Not games, remember, it's always by
Yeah,
series.
series.
But yes, yes, yes. It is going to be very skewed.
Oh, geez. Oh man, what about the what about the Washington Nationals?
It's a good guess. I like that guess a lot, but it's not them.
All right. Blue Jays?
Nope. Nationals were number 10 at 500. They are 5-5.
What about the Rays? They've been hot a little bit.
Oh, I like that guess, but no, but you're on the right track there.
Really? I'm on the right track. The Orioles?
Okay, a little off track there.
I'm gonna
Orioles are not bad though, number 10,
say
500
Yankees.
again.
That would leave the Red Sox then.
Red Sox are number. Hold on a second. Red Sox are number 3. 600 win percentage, 24 and 16 in series.
Wow. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Mariners.
Nope. Mariners. I mean, that's rough. They haven't made the playoffs now in how long?
Doesn't really matter though.
No,
That
you're right. Actually, you're
point.
right. That was dumb. I'm dumb. I'm dumb. Let me get to the Mariners. Actually, now I'm interested in that stat. Mariners are 444, 4-5 in series.
All right. Did I think I
The
said
Rays, the Rays are 22, 438, 7-9.
I think I said the Rangers already, right?
Yes, and they are not there.
Did I say Oakland again or no?
Oakland is 16th, 474, 18 and 20.
Astros?
Rangers are 10th again, 508 and 8. Astros, no. Where are the Astros on this list? Um, hmm.
This is an interesting question.
Right? The winning percentage makes it a lot harder. Astros are 8th on the list, 545, 18 and 15.
Phillies. Let's go with our NL East here.
Um, Phillies are 9th. They're 517, 15 and 14.
Jesus. The
Can
Mets. Does it count?
Mets, boom. Mets are 5th on this list, 579, 11 and 8 in series. They may not make the playoffs a lot, but when they do okay.
There you go, Met fan. Something to hang your hat on. All right, so we got what numbers did we get, Alex?
You got the Yankees at 2. You got the Red Sox at 3. You got the Mets at 5. You're missing 1 and 4.
Jeez Louise. San Diego Padres.
Nope.
No.
The San
The
Diego
Cubs. The Cubbies.
Cubs are, I think it was dead last.
Damn it, really?
Yeah, I was a little surprised about that too. Cubs are 333, 9 and 18, which is so sad for a team that's been around 100 plus years.
That
They've
is
only played in 27 playoff series. Oh,
bad. Did I say the Cardinals yet?
Cardinals. There you go. That's number 4.
All right, so I'm missing number 1. Jeez.
Number 1. Cardinals are number 4, 588, 30 and 21, 11 World Series titles.
I feel like I've said every team, but I'm gonna try to think of one that I haven't. The Diamondbacks?
Nope. Diamondbacks are number 6, 571. Good guess there, 8 and 6.
I don't know who I haven't said yet. I really don't.
Can I give you a clue or no?
No.
No clues. No clues. Fine, fine. No clues.
I'm just trying to think of teams that I haven't said it. I'm getting confused because I said so many teams in the first go round too. I'm gonna say the Reds because there's no way I've said them.
Nope.
All right. All right, it's not the Reds.
The Reds are again tied for 10th, 500, 11 and 11.
The Angels,
Nope.
the Twins.
Twins, I think, were the dead last team.
You've
No,
said
they're 29. The Twins, 318 win percentage. They're 715.
all right. I don't
They
think
faced the Yankees 6 times in the postseason, all since 2003. and they've lost every single one.
I don't think I've said anybody in the Central, and for good reason, but I'll go down that list. So we got the Central is the Tigers,
Nope.
the Central is the Royals.
No, but that's a good guess. Tigers were 15th, 478, 11, and 12. The Royals are 7th on the list, 563 at 9 and 7.
Okay. I said the Indians already, and the White Sox, I think, is the last team in the Central.
Not the White Sox. White Sox are
So it's not a team in the Central.
not a team in the Central. No.
All right, we can move past the Central.
We're
Same.
past the Central.
I said everybody in the East. I said everybody in Central. I said the West. The West is the Rangers, the Angels, Athletics. Uh, missing two teams in the West. Oh my lord. The Mariners. Yeah, the Mariners.
And the
And
Padres.
no, the
Oh,
West.
you're talking about the AL? I'm sorry.
Somebody else. Houston. Houston. Yeah. All right. So it's not the West either. So it's not the AL. I named every team in the AL. It's not the AL. It is the National. All right. National League. Start with the East. I said the Braves. I said the Phillies. I said the Nationals. We got the Mets already, and I already guessed the Marlins. So it's not the East. We're narrowing it down here, pal.
Wait, hold on. You already guessed the Marlins?
Have I not?
No, you guessed the Marlins
The
on the
Marlins?
on the
Oh,
other question.
it's the Marlins. You
I
got
was
kidding.
I was gonna give you the clue of this team rarely makes the playoffs, but when they do, they win the World Series.
What series that year? Yeah.
They
Yeah.
are 778 win percentage, 7-2 in postseason series. Crazy. 2 runs and 2 other ones where they just not got knocked out.
Yeah. That's yeah, that still stings, I think, a little bit, which is why I block it out. It does.
2003, man. I
Yeah,
remember like it was yesterday.
it stings. I
They
just felt like we thought we won it already.
Oh yeah, that their World Series was in the ALCS for that
Yeah.
entire series, and
Yeah.
they couldn't muster up anything in that series.
And freaking who is it? Josh Burnett, like
That entire AJ Burnett,
AJ Burnett. AJ Burnett, sorry, yeah. AJ Burnett.
he was a stud, and
Yeah,
then yeah,
in the 1 year that he was a stud.
he was literally a stud for like 2 3 years, and then just fell off the map. And then the other guy who became a Yankee. I'm drawing a blank on his name. Miguel Cabrera was on that team.
That was Burnett. Burnett became a Yankee.
Oh yeah, I'm an idiot. Yep. Yep. And then Ivan Rodriguez was on that team. Pudge. That team was good. That team was damn good. But what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? But it took
Yeah,
them a long time to get back. Give me that starting rotation. Are you looking at the roster?
trying to pull it up now, actually. Yeah.
Oh yeah, because I'm miss their big time number one pitcher. I'm completely drawing a blank on his name. It wasn't AJ Burnett. It was the other guy. Something with a B, I thought. No, wasn't with a B.
It was 2003. It
Yes.
was, yeah, Dontrell Willis, the D train.
The D train. I remember him. No, but it's another name that I'm thinking of.
All right, hang in there. Another name. Carl Pavano. He became a Yankee as
He
well.
became a Yankee and he was terrible. And then he went to the Twins and he was
Josh Beckett was on the team.
Josh Beckett. That was the guy. I said it was a B name. Josh Beckett. That was the guy. So you combine, I think Josh. You said Josh Burnett. You combine Beckett and
Yeah,
Burnett.
I can find them.
And that was the guy I was thinking of. That was the dude. I legit think he was a stud for 3 4 years and then he like fell off a cliff, right?
Beckett was good, man. He
Oh
played.
no, and then he went to the Red Sox, right? Yeah, I forgot about that. I'm an idiot.
Beckett was real good. Beckett was. He won 138 games in his career, 3.88 career ERA.
He was good.
Yeah, no, he was. a 20-game winner only one time in 2007.
Won the World Series with the Red Sox, right?
Yeah, what year did they win the World Series?
2004, 2007.
So he was with Florida in 04, but he was with the Red Sox in 07.
Okay. That
Yeah,
makes sense. It all checks out.
he was a good pitcher.
He was very good.
Burnett was like the guy that kind of, you know.
But that was the thing, that team was crazy young. They just, the Marlins did. They literally won the World Series, break the team up. Won the World Series, break the team up. That team was crazy young. Miguel Cabrera was like 19 years old.
He was 20.
He was 20. All right.
Juan Pierre was 25. They had Derek Lee on their team. They had a good
It
freaking
was a very good
a
team.
good freaking roster.
That team would have been good for a decade. They just didn't
Yeah.
they didn't keep them together.
No, listen, you're absolutely right. I'm actually glad I looked at this because I don't feel as bad losing now. Like they really did have a good roster.
Yes.
Alex Gonzalez, Luis Castillo, Derek Lee, Pudge Rodriguez, Mike Lowell, Juan
Mike Lowell.
Pierre, Miguel Cabrera, um, Gerald Williams. He was 36 at the time.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
And Carl Pavano at 27, Dontrell Willis at 21, Josh Burnett at 23, AJ Burnett at 26.
Right.
Had a pretty sick young pitching staff.
Oh,
And
their pitching staff was unbelievable.
the lineup to go with it was damn good, man. It's damn good.
Yep. And then the next year they broke them up.
Yeah, that's about right.
That's Florida for you. That is Florida for you. All right, let's end it. Plug what you got, my man.
At A to Z. No, that's not right. That's you do that. I do mine. I'm sorry. I am at the Zanni Show. Alex, what do we got on X?
Hey, we are at A to Z NY Sports. Like, follow, and subscribe. I will be taking you all the way through this Islander hype until the wheels fall off. We are back on the hype for the Yankees, tweeting hopefully for most of the games out there. And then right into the NBA playoffs, and going to be finishing off here with the NCAA tournament. So it's been an awesome ride so far.
Watch WrestleMania this weekend. We'll touch base next week. Good fight. Good night.
Good night.